Hey guys, it's Jeff Trapp here with the Jeff Trapp Podcast, and I'm so glad that you've decided to join me today. This is a part one episode of a two-part series, and it's one of my favorite series that we do every single year. We're going to go through the 2023 IRS Dirty Dozen list. So these are the things that the IRS is going after people for, and they release this every tax season. And it's a lot of fun to see what's on the IRS's radar. So they've added some things for this year. It's the Dirty Dozen. So there's 12 of them. We'll go through the first six today. Next week, we'll go through the final six, but then we'll also cover the items that they've removed from the Dirty Dozen list from last year. So let's just jump into today's episode. Like I said, it's one of my favorite of the year because we get to dive into some topics that we don't usually get to dive into. And, we get to kind of see what's on the IRS's radar. Now, I'm going to read each item here off a list because obviously this changes every single year and I can't remember every single item, but then I'll, paraphrase kind of what's going on, what the IRS is looking for. So the first item of business on the 2023 Dirty Dozen list is the employee retention credit claims. Oh my goodness. If you got that employee retention credit money, the IRS says these are aggressive pitches from promoters to con ineligible employers into claiming the employee retention tax credit. Promotions can be based on inaccurate information related to eligibility for and computation of the credit. We already know that the IRS has come out and said, hey, if you took employee retention credit money, you're going to get audited. And we're going to dive into those records to see if you actually qualified for that. So if you did take that money and you believe that you were eligible and all of your books and all of your records and all your receipts and all your payroll records line up for that, fantastic. You have nothing to worry about. You can just turn that over to the IRS and you'll be good to go. However, if you're like, shoot, I saw a commercial or saw this, flyer and I decided to apply for the employee retention credit. I wasn't really sure about it. You might want to dig in further with your tax strategist or accountant to make sure that you actually qualified for that credit. The IRS does give you the opportunity to return that money without being audited, without going to jail, without penalties and interest. And you can do that. And I believe you have until about the end of the year to do that. So keep that in mind. Some other things to be aware of what the IRS is targeting are phishing and smishing scams. So what is that? These are fake communications from scammers posing as the IRS agents or other tax or financial community members. These messages arrive as unsolicited text, smishing, or email, which is phishing, to lure unsuspecting victims into providing valuable personal and financial information that can lead to identity theft. So the IRS will most likely never text you. They will never email you. So if you are getting emails, typically the only time you'll receive an email or a text from the IRS is when you are trying to log on to your IRS account. They'll either send you a verification email that, hey, this is me, or a text, verify that this is you logging in. Other than that, the IRS is not going to email you or text you. So be on the lookout for that. The IRS is going to aggressively go after these people who do this, and we'll see where that goes. So the next thing here, number 3, online account help from third-party scammers. Swindlers pose as a helpful third party and offer help to create taxpayers' IRS online accounts at irs.gov. And they help you out by taking your personal information to log in and verify your identity and all those things. So if anybody ever offers to help you to log into your account other than your tax strategist, accountant, tax preparer, CPA, whoever you're utilizing, then it is most likely a scam. And the IRS is going to aggressively pursue those people. All right. So now we're getting into some other really neat things. So number 4 is the false fuel tax credit claims. So the fuel tax credit is meant for off-highway businesses and farming use and available to most taxpayers. So we see this a lot, in farming, in agriculture, or in businesses that utilize generators and heavy equipment that require gasoline. And a lot of times we see that folks improperly claim these tax credits where they're not eligible to claim them, right? So a lot of promoters and tax preparers can inflate these refunds by claiming these improper tax credits. So, if you qualify for this, great. You want to make sure that you meet all of the requirements and you're eligible. But there are a lot of people out there that are taking these tax credits that shouldn't be. Number 5, fake charities. All right. This is pretty crazy, right? Scammers set up fake charities and seek personal and financial information. And then they use this to exploit victims through identity theft. With AI and things nowadays, folks are now getting calls, they're getting texts saying, hey, donate to my charity. It's a, 501c3. And then you take your money, you try to deduct that on your tax return, and you don't get a tax deduction because, hey, it's not a real 501c3 charity. So you want to make sure if you're donating money to a charity or somebody reaches out that you don't know, that you do your due diligence to make sure they're a 501c3 charity. There's a registry list online where you can verify if that charity qualifies. All right. The last one that we're going to go through today is unscrupulous tax return preparers. The IRS admits that most tax preparers provide outstanding and professional service. I would agree. Most tax preparers are ethical. They go through a lot of training to get their licenses and prepare taxes. But there are scammer preparers, especially ghost preparers who prepare tax returns but refuse to sign them or include their IRS preparer tax identification number, or PTIN. So if you're paying someone to prepare your tax returns, at the bottom of that Form 1040 on the signature page, or at the bottom of your business return on the signature page, there should be the name of the firm, the name of the preparer, and their IRS preparer tax identification number. If you do not see that on the tax return, that is a huge, huge, huge red flag. And you need to ask your preparer to, put that information on there, or it might be time to start looking for a new tax preparer. So this is just the first half of the list when it comes to the IRS 2023 30 dozen list. And like I said, we've got some more fun things to discuss next week as we dive even further into this. But if you know somebody who has been scammed or participated in some of these things, you might want to forward this podcast onto them, give them a little bit of help out. And also, as always, down below in the show notes, we've got a link to our free tax playbook, so you can save some additional money on taxes this tax season and not overpay. Once again, I'm Jeff Trapp with the Jeff Trapp's Podcast and the Tax Planning Pros, and thank you so much for joining me today.